Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. So I wanted to take an early look into the next patch that'll be coming out to the live servers in about 2 weeks because there's a bunch of interesting and new information. So we'll be going over a couple of changes happening to champions, we'll be going over a bunch of new examples of new runes and keystone runes that are coming as well, and on top of this we'll be also looking at a rework of ZEKE'S Harbinger. So if you guys end up enjoying this video and me taking this early look into the next patch, then let me know by simply hitting that like button. But without much further ado, let's get right into the big and juicy information. So the very first thing that I actually want to talk about is going to be to ZEKE'S Harbinger. Now this item has had a rework coming into this patch. You can see it on your screen right there right now, but without going too much into it at the very moment, I'd rather show you guys an example of it in the game and also go over the item while being in the game as well. So let's do that first. Alright guys, so in this part of the video, I want to show you how it looks like with the new ZEKE'S, right? How does it look like in game? What does it do now? And all that good stuff. So if you mouse over here, ZEKE'S Harbinger. So the first part is, of course, you bind it to an ally, right? As per usual, same thing. But the passive is now completely different. Casting your ultimate near your ally surrounds you with a frost storm and ignites your ally's basic attacks for 10 seconds, right? Which we just went over this on the PvE notes. So essentially, enemies inside your frost storm are slowed by 20%, and your ally's attacks burn their target by 60% bonus magic damage over 2 seconds with a 45-second cooldown. And there's a second part where basic attacking a burning enemy ignites your frost storm to deal 50 magic damage per second and slow by 40% instead for 3 seconds, right? So unfortunately we can't show the second part, which I'll show you guys that in the clip after this, but I can show you the first part where there's a storm around me. So check it out. So if you press my ultimate with Leona, boom, see? Now he gets this fire thing around him because once he casts his ultimate, it will essentially, or once he uses the basic attack, it will burn the target, and then if I hit that target, my blue thing will turn red, which is pretty cool, right? But that's kind of how it looks like, to give you a rough idea, right? So around an enemy, so you can see here, you can see the debuff up here. Right here, you can see this. Right? The movement speed is slowed. This will consistently slow them over and over and over, which is pretty cool. And it's a nice kind of engaged support item now to just stick on the target, really like just give like a nice setup for your ADC to just attack them, do bonus damage, slow them down, and it's just a nice setup. It really is. So let me show you guys the second part of the clip now, where I'll show you the second part of the item with the part where my ally actually attacks someone, and then if I attack them as well, how the blue storm goes from blue to red. So let's take a look at that next. Your allies' attacks burn their target for 60% bonus magic damage over 2 seconds. Basic attacking a burning enemy ignites your frost storm to deal 50 magic damage per second and slow by 40% instead for 3 seconds, right? So we want to see how that looks like. So that's been my goal this game, to try and show you guys how that can look like. Now, this is it. This is it. Come here, man. Let's go. Let's do it. Me and you right now. This is the 2-on-2 baby. Alright, there it is, baby. There it is, baby. There it is, baby. Look at my thing. It's like red now. The storm is red. That looks really cool, actually. Damn. Damn, that looks really cool. Holy shit. Okay, well, that's about it. But that's an example of how it looks like in the game again, but with this time with an actual, like a real example, if you will. You know, activating the second parts of the ability with, of course, the burning part with your ally, turning your blue storm into what looks to be a red storm now, which looks pretty cool. But yeah, that's just a quick example to show you guys exactly how it looks like in both examples. So hope you enjoyed that. Now, following this, I also want to quickly talk about some pretty big changes happening to Singed, the champion that has been in a very interesting and random spot throughout several metas now, but they're trying to maybe put him back into the meta with this change. Not entirely sure what the intent behind it is, but the changes, or probably buffs, are as follows. So first we have his Q ability. The total damage on this has been changed ever so slightly to be slightly higher at the earlier ranks, while being lower at the later ranks. However, the AP ratio has been increased by 20%, and a bug fix has happened where it no longer will disappear when Singed leaves enemy vision, which is always a nice thing. Following this, the mana cost on his E ability has been changed to be lower at every single rank, especially the earlier ranks. The percent damage of his E ability has been set to 6% at every single rank, rather than starting at 6 and going all the way up to 8, but to compensate, it now has a new effect where it'll actually scale 2% per 100 AP. So that in itself already tells me that it seems like Riot, based off of the Q and E changes, is trying to make Singed be much more of an AP focused champion, where you actually want to build legitimate AP items and not go as tanky as you usually do. So following this, we also have another change happening to his ultimate Insanity Potion. The mana cost has been lowered to 100 at every single rank rather than 150. The bonus stats that Singed gets from this ability has also been increased at rank 2 and 3, but slightly decreased at rank 1. But the duration at which his ultimate remains on has actually been lowered to being from 25 at every single rank to being only 15 by rank 1, 20 rank 2, and 25 rank rank 3. But to make things even better and to essentially put the cherry on the cake, it now has a completely new effect. Poison Trail's cloud duration is also doubled during the duration of his ultimate. So you can see here a whole bunch of big changes happening to Singed, giving him much more AP ratio throughout all of his abilities, just making him stronger and much more focused on the AP aspect of the champion, while also buffing up his ultimate and making the Poison Trail last a double the duration, which is a pretty cool thing, and I feel like will offer Singed players a whole new bunch of options to play the champion. Now there's also a whole bunch of changes happening to a lot of different support items, to which I don't really want to go through because it is a lot of small information that I don't think is worth talking about. So if you guys want to see them for yourselves, I'll have a link down below where you can check it out. Again, not the biggest of changes in the entire world, just slight number tweaks here and there. But the next thing I really want to talk about is going to be the new runes, the rune keystones, and a bunch of new examples showing exactly what we can expect once this system finally hits the live servers. Alright guys, so in this part of the video, I want to go over the new runes and the rune keystones and things like that, because they gave us a lot more examples of what we can expect to see. They gave us just a lot of more information. So let's go over this very quickly. So they have a page right here where they talk about all this. Essentially, this is all just, I mean, if you guys want to read it, you can read it yourself. This is just kind of useless information. They just explain the process as to getting to this point of making these kind of decisions and making these rune keystones and stuff like that. So we have the keystones, right? So the way it's going to work is you have 6 runes, right? Break down to 3 types. You have the keystone, boom. You have the major, which we'll talk about, and then the minor, right? We saw that in the previous video I made. Now, keystones. You only get 1 keystone rune, and it's the strongest, and a direct evolution of keystone masteries. It shows up on the loading screen. God damn it. It shows up on the loading screen, the scoreboard, and will be the most impactful in your moment-to-moment gameplay. Keystones are big, powerful effects that can shift what your champion does. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Gives a shit. First example. So these are 2 examples we already saw. Later on is where we get the other examples, the new examples. So Berserk, we saw in the video that they posted, 3 seconds after damaging a champion, you go Berserk, gaining 60% attack speed for 3 seconds. You can extend the effect to 10 seconds by attacking an enemy champion. A Berserk lets you transcend the attack speed cap, right, which is 2.5. Pretty cool. Perksy. Your basic attacks and abilities send Perksy to a target. Perksy shields them by this amount based on level, which scales or damages enemy champions, or enemies I guess in general, for this amount of damage based on level, and also scaling and everything, and it cannot be sent out again until she returns to you. So very similar to Lulu. So we already saw these 2 examples of the keystones, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more, right? I'm sure this is just not the only 2 keystones that they have. So let's go into the next examples, because they haven't released more information about keystones just yet. So next we have major runes, right? It's the next tier down in power, and this is where we see the biggest break from the old runes and mastery system. So essentially, it's just the next choice that you make. Weaker than keystones, but stronger than, of course, minor runes, right? So here's some examples. We saw the overheal already in the video. Excess healing becomes a decaying shield for up to 10% of your total health. Pretty good, right? And then we have a really interesting one, something called a zombie ward, right? As a major rune. Zombie ward. After killing an enemy ward, a friendly zombie ward is raised in its place. Zombie wards are visible, last for 180 seconds, aka 3 minutes, and do not count towards your ward limit. Now this is very interesting, because essentially you kill an enemy ward, you know, you're doing your thing. Let's say you're a support player, right? You're doing your thing, you're going to try and get vision, you use your sweeping lens or whatever, you find an enemy ward, you auto attack it 3 times, maybe it's a pink ward 4 times, you kill it. But then on top of destroying their vision, you spawn your own ward in that location that gives your team vision. It's huge. It's a huge counter to just the vision game in general, which is really cool, right? And on top of that, what makes it even better is that it doesn't count towards your ward limit. Very important to remember. So you know how currently if you have, like, say, a sightstone, right? You can place, what is it, 3 wards before you essentially your 4th ward replaces your 1st ward, right? This does not count towards that. So you can have 3 wards already placed, go ahead and kill an enemy ward, have that ward placed on your behalf, and that counts as 4 wards you have placed, with neither of them being replaced, which is really important. So this is like, I think this is really damn OP, honestly. Maybe not OP, but it's really freaking good. Really good. They're gonna have to have some really nice major runes apart from these 2 for me not to want to take this, because this looks absolutely gorgeous. Anyways, moving down, minor runes, right? So what do we have here? First one called Overcharger. Plus 1 CDR, 1% CDR per level, plus 10% CDR at level 10. Each percent of excess CDR is converted to plus 2 ability power or plus 1.4 attack damage adaptive. Overcharger grants CDR as you level up and converts any CDR beyond the cap into an AD or AP, which opens the door to brand new item builds. Now this is really cool. For a minor rune to have such an effect, which is it's fantastic. And the main thing that's really cool is this part here. The reason this is cool is because at the moment, your item builds are very specific sometimes to just not overcapping CDR, right? Let's say you have 10% CDR blues. right? Level 18. You go Morel Omicron, you go Lichbane. Boom, you're at 40% CDR, but you know, but you really want to get a Zhonya's, but you can't really get a Zhonya's because it's gonna suck, right? I mean, you're gonna overcap CDR, and overcapping CDR is really, really bad. Like, you almost never want to do that. But now with this as a minor rune, you can definitely do that. You can go ahead and overcap. It'll convert that bonus CDR into very useful stats. It really does open up a whole lot of a new item and build possibilities, which is super, super cool. Next, we have Essence Thief. Gain 1 permanent max HP when enemy minions die in near you, range 1400. Essence Thief is an investment in late game durability. Every nearby enemy minion that dies grants you a bonus, even if you aren't the one that's killing it. Super cool. If you're a top lane tank, not bad. If you're a initiating tank support champion, you know, like Leona, maybe Alistar, Braum even, pretty good to have this. As a minor rune, this is actually really good. This will scale really well. As long as you're beside them, you don't have to even kill them. As long as you're beside the minions that die. Keep in mind it says minions, not monsters, so only lane minions, not jungle monsters. But regardless, it's really, really cool. So I think this is super cool, man. The fact that they have all these different examples already, this is probably nowhere even near the amount of the potential actual options that we'll have once this comes out to the live servers, is super, super cool. So they talk about a bit more stuff here, paths and slots. So we talked about the different runes and how you can actually make your selections, but runes are assigned to paths, each with its own theme, identity, and set of mechanics to explore. The domination path, for example, is about hunting down and blowing up targets, right? Essentially, there's different paths. So this is how it looks like. We already saw this page. You have the keystone here, you have the greater rune here, the ones we saw, then you have the 2 simple runes and 2 more runes here, right? So we already saw examples of this. It'll be more obvious and understandable once it actually comes out and once they give us even more information. But essentially, there's a different paths from what this looks like to be 4 paths. One of them is the Dominator path, which they gave us an example here. So you can have, I'm assuming, one of these 3, which I'll call Relentless Hunter, right? So this is an example of giving you 10 out of combat movement speed per bounty hunter stack. Or in a bounty hunter stack, the first time you get a takedown on an enemy champion. Okay, that's pretty cool. Ingenious Hunter, 5% active item CDR per bounty hunter stack. That's actually super, super cool. Ravenous Hunter, 2% spell vamp per bounty hunter stack. I mean, you know, I guess that's pretty cool. It's very, very specific in this one, I think. Very, very specific as to what you're playing, but it's still pretty cool, right? And there's more examples here. So we have Essence Thief, we already saw that. You have something called Don't Panic. Heals and shields are 5% stronger, increase to 10% on targets below 40% HP. Obviously not the biggest of things, but based on the how this looks like, it is going to be a minor rune. So minor runes obviously aren't the biggest or the most impactful, but they still give pretty useful effects, right? And another one called Panic, 10% movement speed towards enemy nearby allies that are CC'd or enemies that you CC. Pretty cool too. I mean, a lot of different small examples. You know, they gave us a lot more examples of what we can expect and things that we'll be choosing from. There's probably a lot more to come, and I really want to see more examples of major and keystones, major runes and keystones. Those are ones I really want to see. Like, those look super, super cool. But either way, guys, that's about it. I'll have this in the description below. You guys can check out this page yourselves and read it for yourself as well. But I want to go over this at least somewhat quickly and just give you guys an idea as to what runes and keystones and things like that we can expect to see, as they did give us a lot more examples. Alright guys, that's about it for this video. There you have it, an early look into the next patch, patch 7.12 or 7.12. A whole bunch of cool changes, a big buff, or even almost like a rework happening to Singed. You have a rework happening to ZEKE'S Harbinger, which is a pretty good support item, but maybe it'll be even better now for a specific type of support champions like Leona, Alistar, maybe Braum. And on top of this, we have a nice new look and glimpse at what we can expect from the new rune mastery system with the new rune keystones. So if you guys end up enjoying this video, then let me know by simply hitting that like button, share this with your friends so that everyone else see exactly what's coming to League of Legends. But I hope to see you guys for the next video. Thank you for watching. Peace.